My stepmom and my dad were cool, right? Um, but I didn't feel like I fit in that home. Um, and I think that's a result of a lot of people that come from divorce, right? Um, you kind of, there's a missing side of you, right, outside of the home. And so that was rough for me. It was rough when I was young, the inconsistency of being able to see my mom and just the identity that comes in being around family, right? When you're young and you see your family, that tells you sort of who you are, right? And I didn't feel like I had that. I felt like I didn't fit there. I didn't belong there. There's always that curiosity. There's always that wondering. What's the other side of my family like? Like I said, the streets embraced me. I don't really know how else to put it, that they didn't abandon me. They welcomed me. So that was a lot of what my youth was. Me running away, petty crimes, you know, stealing and a little bit of hustling. But through that, right, I started going to juvenile hall when I'm like 10 and a half. And so I'm meeting people that's up to other things now, you know, and folks that are really running the streets. There's not judgment here. These folks is going through the same kind of stuff that I'm going through. They're smoking weed, they're drinking, they're kicking it, they're gang banging, they're hustling. So like I said, as a young person looks at their family, it's a model for them of who they are. I'm getting that same input, but it's coming from the block. So the consequences that came from that didn't affect me a whole lot. I mean, it affected me, but it wasn't a deterrent. It just seemed normal. This is what we do. You know, it's like if your grandpa was a pastor and your dad's a pastor and all your uncles are pastors and you become a pastor, right? So going to jail wasn't this huge deal. It was normal. I've known a lot of people over the years that have been killed. One murder in particular that really affected me was a young man named Roy. He was like a little brother to me. We had grown up together, and he wasn't in a gang. Had kind of that notion of, I'm not gonna be a punk. He was also a real good athlete, and so he moved up to Sacramento to kind of get away from trouble. Because I was gang banging and we were real close, we lived together, and so he caught a lot of heat with you know, the people that I had as enemies. So this dude challenged him over a girl. Needless to say, he wound up getting into a fight, right? And beat the hell out of the dude, right? In front of everybody. And this was supposed to be the tough guy. So there was a youngster who also wasn't in the gang, but wanted to be cool with the tough guys. And he was just kind of a dorky little suburban kid. And he went and stole his dad's gun and worked with some females and set my little brother up and killed him when he was 16. And that really impacted me. Wasn't the first person I knew, you know, to get killed, but that was my guy. And so I wound up moving up to Sacramento and retaliated in the only ways that I knew how, right? But to this day, that loss still impacts me. Him and I, it was deeper than that. It wasn't the gang or the neighborhood or anything else that had drawn us together. We were just family. And that kid only got a couple months in juvenile hall, right? Because he said that my brother had a knife and threatened him. And since my brother's dead, obviously he can't defend himself against the allegation. So he had a good lawyer. You know, he came from money. To this day, that was my closest friend. I think about what would he think of me now? Like, what would he think of my lifestyle? Because we had those kinds of conversations. He knew about the pain and the drama and had gone through a lot of that himself. We bonded on that, and he wanted success in a healthy way and was taking steps towards that. That's why of all the people that have died, his name's the only name that I have actually tattooed on me. My mom, the one who was really absent and unstable through all my life up to that point, came to see me regularly. She was cool. She put money on my books. She was the stable person in my life. But she would always want to talk about the streets. And when I came home, and I would always tell her, I'm not coming home. Don't think I'm coming home, because it's not guaranteed. Anything can happen. I really just embraced being in prison as my life. It was through Jesus. I mean, to put it simply, right? It was through studying the Bible and seeing that I was not created to be a hoodlum. I wasn't created to be a homeboy. As I learned more about God, I learned more about myself. There's a direct correlation to me getting further away from God and me getting closer to the person that I used to be. You know, I was alive and free that last year I was in prison and the whole time I've been home. But I got a little cloudy. And I go to a sandwich place. Really wanted to get in a fight with the guy that worked there because he just asked me too many questions. And I feel like everybody's staring at me like I don't belong there. You know, like I'm from some other planet somewhere. And it made me real self-conscious, right? And so anger came out from that because I was embarrassed. And I didn't know how to navigate something as simple as ordering a sandwich. And I'm still not perfect. I'm still not without issues or without mistakes. But I'm living my dream now. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a kid. I wanted to have a house. I trust God more. And it's been beautiful. And who I am now is a relatively decent person. But that process of me getting here, a lot of my actions hurt a lot of people. So while I can't change the past, this learning process for me left a whole lot of damage, right? There's people that ain't alive no more as I got to discover who I was.